I look like a gardener to you? I am a better, I am not a gardener. Hedging is for gardens. How does your garden grow?
With plus money.
With plus money. Hedging is for gardens.
Welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live, UEFA Champions League special. It's Tuesday the 25th of November. You with Steve Wyss and Nigel Seeley. Nigel, how's it going?
Terrible. Manchester United and me have had a very, very separate, very messy divorce. Amorim last night, what on earth was he thinking about? I can't believe it. We had 4 units on the Premier League show. We didn't actually intentionally have 4 units. We know Jack had his 2, you picked I had 2. We got down to -$3, but honestly, I was livid yesterday. I don't usually get really that angry about matches, but that performance yesterday from Man United really, really, really pissed me off.
I have to say, it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a significant favourite playing with 10 men. Like, forget XG, forget stats and stuff like that. The tactical situation from Ruben Amorim. I was saying to someone today, I can't bet on Man United games now, whatever side or over or under, because they're completely on my blacklist in every other way. You don't know which version of them's going to come out. But it was a good night for Bet Rivers, I'll tell you that, Nigel. The sportsbook took a low 6-figure win on the result. Biggest soccer bet yesterday actually was in MLS, and that was San Diego, Minnesota live over 1.5 goals, and was the loser. But there was $20,000 placed on Man United money line at -122. That was a loser. There was a shocking play in running, actually. $4,000 on Everton to win on the money line, plus 215. And obviously that cash. So that was a very brave bet, because that would surely have been placed when they were down.
That was probably at half time. Man United were about even money at half time, plus 110, something like that. And they were Man United -$3 when the player sent off. We spoke about it on the Betting Weekly Dojo today. Me and Neil had a good chat about it. I know we probably don't want to talk about this, but there is always value when on the dogs, when everyone expects the favourite to come back. And that's what last night, this Man United were awful. They did 28 shots, but not really hardly any chances created. Long distance shots, couple of balls into the box, but just terrible tactic. And anyway, move on to today.
Well, yeah, we do move on. We've got the Champions League card. We're going to go through every single game as per normal. Plenty of house specials and stuff, which I'll talk about as we go through the card. Welcoming everyone. Put your best bets in chat. I'll try my best to go through them. It's going to be manic in here today, though, so that might not be possible. Proper Pans. What are the odds on the gold jackets for today's show? It was an absolute lock. Nigel took his gold jacket to Greece with him.
Exactly. Exactly. Not the musical. Not Danny Zuko, Summer Loving. I would have been one of the T-Birds, but no, the actual country. Not going to see the stage show, but yes, I did take it, and it was very warm, and I wore it out there. Yeah, so yeah.
A guy called A. Good to see you. I think there's a few name changes, isn't there, on YouTube? I don't know whether it's something to do with the accounts, putting everyone's full name or whatever. Anyway, the Sevilla game. Thankfully it went over 2.5. I got greedy with the hot dog and took over 3.5. Could have easily had over a 3 agent, but sometimes you've got to go for it, Nigel. That was.
There was a few name changes last week's Premier League show. Those tips were given to you from Dan Roebuck, not me. That was.
You just got to bounce back, haven't you? That's all you can do.
Bounce back ability. That's what we're going to do. This show's always been good, though. This show's always been good for winners. We've actually done all right, but on this show's probably we don't keep we obviously have the daily double. But if you looked at all the leans and picks on the Champions League this season, I think you'd have been well in profit on both shows, myself and Will.
I've got a feeling you're pretty fired up today, Nigel. That's what I'm sensing anyway. I'm ready.
I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm devastated. I was really annoyed at that game. I don't usually sit and watch myself do money, but I sat through that last night and watched every minute of it, and it was painful. And I realised why I don't sit through all these matches most of the time anyway. Just dreadful. But tonight, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you've been really good on these shows this season, and we are now really entering the crunch stage of the Champions League. Matchday 5 awaits us. Just 3 teams on maximum points. Bayern Munich, Arsenal, they face off tomorrow. Inter Milan also on 12 points. Down at the bottom there, Ajax, Benfica. We're going to start there very soon. The 2 pointless sides. And remember, that whole aim of the game is to get in that top 24 or finish as high as you possibly can. The higher you finish up, supposedly, the better it is going to be for you. Although Liverpool fans might disagree. compared to last season. But like I said, we are going to start right at the bottom of the table. Only 2 teams have 0 points. It is Ajax and Benfica. And Ajax, there've been a continual fade on this show all season. They're plus 250 to beat Benfica here. Benfica plus 104. The tie is plus 260. Ajax did get rid of John Eitinger, and they've got an interim boss in charge right now. Benfica surprisingly pointless as well at this stage. I mean, you can get plus money here on the Portuguese side. Nigel, I like them here. They're actually going to be the first part of the daily double from me here on the Tino Bet. But I think there's nothing wrong with Benfica on the money line, on the minus 0.25 Asian handicap, because I just see them as a lot. They're a better side for me than Ajax. It continues to stink. They've lost their manager, but I still think they're a fade Ajax person.
You put me away straight away, Steve. You said we're going to go in order with the Bet Rivers website, and the first game I had was Galatasaray over you. Says right on my mind. We must have different lists. It's quite funny. But anyway, let's go on to this Ajax match. You know, I'm only joking. Yes, it's a huge game. 36th against 35th. Ajax at the bottom of the table. Ajax, obviously the Dutch league. We said on these shows, and I was out speaking to a lot of Dutch fans when they were playing over in Greece the other week, and then in Athens. And this is a bad version of the Dutch league. Even the teams at the top of the table, when Ajax aren't even anywhere near the top of the table, 6th in their domestic league, which is incredible when you consider how dominant they have been over the years. Their recent form is shocking. They've lost their last 3. 3-0 defeat against Galatasaray. Obviously, Usman was in absolute fine form there with a hat-trick. But the last weekend's defeat was just incredible. Ajax and lose at home to decide that they're losing to now in this moment in time isn't like what they are. There is transition in this Ajax side. They're made up of a lot of young players, and this is a very, very bad Dutch league. It's really, how do you rate the Dutch league compared to the Portuguese league? And at this moment in time, the Portuguese league is a lot stronger than the Dutch league. I think the Dutch league is in turmoil at this moment in time. My only issue here is that Benfica aren't in great form either. And like I said, nobody's got a point. No one's won any games. But I would say the road fixtures that Benfica have been handed in this competition, going to Chelsea and Newcastle, haven't been exactly a walk in the park for them. They're difficult places to visit. Is Ajax a difficult place to go anymore? I don't think it is, as you've seen from their results this season. 3 successful losses, only 1 win in their last, is it 8 or 9? 9 matches, which is just staggering when you consider completely outplayed by Marseille in a full defeat, smashed by Chelsea 5-1. I know they had a sending off in that match, but there could have been more goals for Chelsea. This is a team in turmoil. The only trouble is the price. I just think that plus 105 on the money line for Benfica is a little bit too low for me. If I was getting plus 120, I might have a little bit about it. But I think the market realises how bad the Dutch league is. I think that they're obviously Ajax without their manager. Benfica now with Jose Mourinho wanting to try to stamp some kind of authority, get a win. Their form isn't great as well. They're involved in a title race domestically as well, which is probably their main priority now. Well, it is their main priority now. I just think that Benfica I like Benfica to win it, but I don't really think that plus 105 is a bettable price. I think if it plus 120, I'd be all over it. But at plus 105, edging towards Benfica, but the price is slightly putting me off here.
Well, my single bet for the game is on the minus 0.25 Asian handicap minus 130. I do like that. Part of me does worry a little bit for the draw. It's one of those where both teams probably know they're not going to qualify now. And it's almost about pride, getting a point on the board. That's why I'm going the Tino Bet on the daily double option. But I do think Benfica showed their quality here. There is 88% of the money on Benfica and 82% of the tickets. 91% of the money on the over-unders on the over. I'd quite like the over as well here, but it's 2.75 line. It might be one of those where both just go for it and feel like it's their best chance of a win. Peter Chalkin says, Benfica money line, don't overthink it. Ajax are a big fade at the moment. And it seems like quite a lot of chat do supporters with the Benfica angle here. I
think both teams do know they're going out though, Steve. If you look at their remaining fixtures, I mean, it's impossible. It's very difficult. So I do like that goal angle that both sides will have to go for it. Obviously, Jose Mourinho doesn't really like those kind of football matches, but I think he's got no choice here. And this could open up both teams to score on goals as well. But I just got a feeling that I'd want a little bit more. I'd like how I'd approach this match is if I might watch the first 10 minutes, and if Benfica hit about plus 125, I might get involved in play. But pre-match, lean towards Benfica, but not at plus 105.
There has been the biggest bet on the game is both teams score yes. Significant 4-figure bet on that one. In the interim manager at Ajax, his name is an interesting one. It reminds me of someone sounds like someone out of Lancashire. His name's Fred Grimm, and it you can't make these things up, can you? It kind of sums up their problems really at the moment.
If with a name like Fred Grimm, he should be manager of Feyenoord in Rotterdam rather than Ajax. Fred Grimm.
Yeah.
Fred Grimm, manager of Rotterdam, Feyenoord Rotterdam.
Peter Jarkin said he had priced Benfica moneyline -115. Ajax have shown.
Well, that's good. Well, that takes this is someone who follows those leagues. But I mean, it's Champions League football. It's the last. I think if Benfica needed to win it, they had to have a win to have a chance to go through. I think Jose Mourinho would set up a game plan to win it. But I just got a feeling +105 looks a little bit too short for me.
Jan Phillip, we know he's an Ajax fan. He says handicap Benfica, not even just the money line handicap. This is the man who had his house on Marseille when they faced Ajax earlier in the season. Surely Fred Grimm is the most Yorkshire name you could ever have. Possibly, yeah. It's something up north, isn't it, Gurney? Really?
Steve Wyss doesn't sound like a Yorkshire name. Steve Wyss sounds like a sort of a more. Where's the surname? Wyss is a bit of unusual.
Switzerland is the origin.
Yeah.
One of my great grandfathers wrote Swiss Family Robinson.
Really?
Of a lie. No, yes.
If someone put a picture of you up, Steve, and said you name this guy, what's this guy's name? Either Steve Wyss or Fred Grimm. I think 99% of the market would be on Fred Grimm. 99.9% of the tickets are on Fred Grimm.
Real Brandon King, don't you worry. Yeah, Dortmund, I'm staying away. So you're not going to have a chance to fade me on Dortmund today. Right, with the other early game, I did go off script, Nigel.
I thought give me the brief. The first match we've gone completely wrong. I thought, what's going on here?
Just keeping you on your toes.
Exactly.
Galatasaray against Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. This is going to be the match played at the warmest weather today. It's a pretty cold day across Europe, but you will get decent temps in Istanbul. They're the favourites at -143. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise +360, the tie +300. Galatasaray, actually, they're -150 now, Galatasaray. Yeah. They're going to have to win this one without their big man, Victor Osimhen, who's ruled out probably until the African Nations Cup, which starts next month. I mean, I still like Galatasaray here. I still like the goals because they've got a lot of depth to them, Galatasaray, the likes of Icardi and Sané. But there is no denying it. Osimhen is a huge weapon at the minute. We saw he had to come off injured half-time in that World Cup qualifying game against Congo, and they ended up losing it. So, yeah, big weapon out, but I still think they've got enough here, Galatasaray. But are they a backable price at -150?
Well, I think what we've seen on the Champions League so far, their goal threat they carry, they are obviously a very, very favourite team today with the betters. Everyone wants to bet them. Their big line movements from -141 to -150, and that is because of the amount of goals they have in this side. As you said, Sané, Icardi, goal scorers galore. But I think you missed one out, and I think it's an important one. Gundogan. Obviously, I think he'll be on the penalties tonight, won't he? And he scored 2 goals already since he's gone to Galatasaray. Osimhen is on penalty duty when he plays, but I think Gundogan tonight on penalties at around about +450, $5 to score any time. I'd be a little bit wary about this one in terms of people looking at the handicap. I expect Galatasaray to win because I do think they offer a better goal threat. Obviously, the Union started off this all in great form with that win against PSV, but since then 3 heavy defeats and have gone real backwards. When they started off, we thought Tony Bloom has done it again with his side and some incredible kind of performances from them. But obviously, their 3 that after that have been poor. My only worry about this match is Galatasaray are involved in a title race in over in Turkey, and at the weekend they play Fenerbahce away. Massive match. Only 1 point between the two of them at the top of the table. So I got a feeling Galatasaray will probably have. I think they'll come out of the blocks flying and try to get this done early, get their goal scoring threat, get the job done, and then rest some key players. Because going into that match with their main talisman, their main striker as well, is a bit of a hindrance. So they want everyone fit for the weekend. I think Galatasaray will win it. My bet would probably be Galatasaray to win to 0 to try to boost it up. I don't think Union will score in this match. And I think Galatasaray are defensively strong. If you look at Galatasaray, in their 9 home matches this season, they've scored at least 3 goals in 6 of them. So that's a huge goal threat. And as an outsider, as a bit of a lean, I'm looking at Gundogan to score at any time. I think he's +450. with Bet Rivers currently on the website. Yes, plus 450. Gunter to score at any time. Going to be on penalties, on free kicks. Always good for a goal. I expect them to win it, but I think they'll have one eye on the weekend as well.
Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't actually check that. I check it for all the big teams in Europe, but that is a hell of a fixture to look forward to. It is a great looking front four still. Yilmaz, Byron's absolutely right, is a major weapon for them as well. I know he's highly rated by a lot of people out there. And Gundogan, Sané, Icardi, I still think, for me, the bet here would be over 3 Asian goals at -120. I think the goal line would be 3.25 if Osimhen, or even 3.5 if Osimhen was available. So it has factored it in. Galatasaray kept recovering it all by themselves. Might need them to, like you said, Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. We don't know really what version of them will show up. They can be. They were good on match day 1, but since then they've been awful, really. So I was thinking 3-1 here for the score. Father Brian says Galatasaray second half money line at +100.
Well, I'm not sure about that because I just think they're going to. I think if they're 1 or 2-0 up, or I think they need to go out from the first minute and then try to get the 2-goal lead and then rest a few players for the weekend. If you look at Galatasaray this season in the Champions League, they're home. They beat Liverpool 1-0. They went to Ajax last week in the last Champions League match and won 3-0. So they have got quite defensively strong as well. I'm quite tempted by the win to 0, which is +205, which is a big difference from the -150 we're having to play on the money line. So I don't see Union scoring in this match. I think they effectively are done for the Champions League, and they've got some big matches coming up. And I think this is, Galatasaray will be pumped up for this match, and I do think they'll come into traps fast. And in the second half, I think they'll have enough to just rest the players for the weekend.
To be fair, Davinson Sanchez has looked pretty good for them at the back. Former Spurs man for Galatasaray has looked pretty good when I've ever seen him this season. 89% of the money is on Galatasaray here. 87% of the over and under money is on the over. And that is the breakdowns for the game. Just want to remind people of not so much a house special, but the EPL second chance token. Players who opt in on the Bet Rivers app will receive 2 Premier League second chance tokens for Premier League parlays. If you lose that wager, a second chance token will be applied. So do check the Bet Rivers app and website for full details. We've got house specials in the Manchester City and Barcelona games today, which I will mention later. But we are welcoming everyone who is joining in late or on demand. Shane, good to see you. Do the US Masters Blazers only get worn on Champions League evenings? Absolutely. It's a special occasion, Shane. So we're moving now to the later kickoffs in the UEFA Champions League. That's those two, by the way, start roughly in about an hour and a half's time. So we now go to the south of France, to Marseille against Newcastle. Really tasty looking game, this one, I must say. Marseille, the dog at +200, Newcastle +138, and the tie at +235. Marseille do have a great home record this season, but still in the Champions League, their overall record in recent years is poor. They lost to Atalanta. We got burnt in that one, Nigel, badly, didn't we? And it was a frustrating defeat. They probably didn't really do enough in that game, if we're being honest. But nevertheless, they are a clear underdog here, which might tempt quite a few people in. How do you assess Newcastle's Champions League campaign so far?
Well, they were bet off the boards in the first match against Barcelona. They went off favourites in that match. It was a huge gamble of them, and the money was wrong. Barcelona came back and won that. Since then, they've done well. They went to Union and won 4-0, 3-0 win at home to Benfica, and a 2-0 win at home to Athletic Bilbao. But I think this is the toughest test since the Barcelona match at home. And I think the market's a little bit disrespectful for Marseille here. This is not probably one for me to have a bet. You're the French betting expert ahead of me, so I bow to your greater judgment here. But I can't believe that Newcastle have been bet. They opened up a +155 for this match earlier in the week, been bet down to +138. I know they beat Man City at the weekend, but that would have taken a lot out of this team. Majority of that team will play again on this match. That was a Saturday night kickoff, and now it's a Tuesday, so the turnaround is quite quick. And let's have a look. Newcastle, we know how good they are at home. They're exceptional at home. That win against Man City was brilliant. All their wins in the Champions League, the 2 wins they've had, the last 2 wins against Benfica and at Bilbao being at home. They beat Tottenham at home. They beat Fulham at home, beat Nottingham Forest at home. They've actually won their last 7 matches at home. But on the road, this Premier League, they haven't won a match. They couldn't 0-0 Villa, 0-0 Leeds, 0-0 Bournemouth, beaten at Brighton, beaten at West Ham, and smashed at Brentford. So they played 6 matches in the Premier League, have not won a match, and now they're going to Marseille, who have one of the best home records in Europe, let alone over in France as well. They had a big win at the weekend against Nice, and the match was a tricky match for them. De Zerbi obviously knows the Premier League, knows the style. Got a goal scorer in Mason Greenwood who will be so pumped up to score against a Premier League side. You know, I think in his brain he probably want to come back and prove his worth back in the Premier League. And I can't believe that Newcastle are this price. And I think Will White sums it up so well that the market just loves Premier League sides. They rate them so highly compared to the French leagues and the Portuguese and these kind of leagues. But you're betting a team here at plus 138 who have won one match in any competition this season on the road, and that was at Union, which was a bad day at the office for Union. Newcastle played well that day, and on the back of what was a very, very tough match. I mean, that could have easily gone against them against Man City, a real high-energy match. I think the odds here, I mean, I'm not saying that Newcastle will go there. I wouldn't have personally, I'm not going to have a bet on this match, but I just do think that Marseille at 2-1 at home against a Newcastle side that haven't won on the road in the Premier League this season looks the wrong price to me. I would be looking to oppose Newcastle. I'd be looking to get with Marseille on the draw no bet. I'll be looking at Marseille in all kinds of angles here, but I think Newcastle are too short. And the reason why they are is because the market absolutely loves Premier League football teams in this competition.
Marseille have a bad record against teams from England. They've lost their last 6 Champions League fixtures against teams from the Premier League. Greenwood's an interesting one here. He's minus 103 to score or assist. He's plus 195 to score. Now, he's quite a selfish player, really. I'm not saying he's not going to assist a goal, but I think to score any time at plus 195 is worth a go. He scored twice on Friday night. He looks sharp. I think he'll have a point to prove, like you said. I think, to be honest, Bet Rivers don't offer this market, but I think I could see him getting fouled a few times. I think a few Newcastle players might try and go in hard on him. Joe Linton, Bet Rivers are only plus 140 for Joe Linton to be carded. Someone put up Joe Linton card, and that is how they're expecting this one to go. Bruno Guimaraes is plus 180 in that same market. Father Brian thinks Newcastle will have heavy legs. Byron says Newcastle's midfield is much better, but it just depends how much they want it.
But wouldn't you want to be prepared for a Champions League match like this, like like a walk in the park game at the weekend, 3 or 4-0, rest everybody, come in, high intensity match against Man City on a Saturday night. It was a night game. Remember that match? Then come in here on a Tuesday. I just got a feeling here this may be a little bit of a tough one for Newcastle. I'm siding with Marseille I'm talking myself into a bet here, but I'm siding myself with Marseille on the draw no bet. I'm not convinced of the odds here for Newcastle.
92% of the money is on Newcastle for the game.
Swim against that tide.
And 53% of the money's on the under. More money for the under on this.
That
game.
Wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Newcastle, Eddie Howe, first started off the season 3-0 on the road. I know it's opened up a little bit, but he's tactically very good. And he on the road, he's usually quite defensive minded. Obviously, the Union game was a bit different because they scored early, but this wouldn't be surprised. But De Zerbi's a coach that loved the Premier League. These Brighton side were very interesting to watch. Marseille this season have been quite defensive recent weeks as well, so quite tight. It wouldn't surprise me at all. This wouldn't surprise me to see it be a low-scoring draw. That's the way I'm seeing it. But I'll be very loath to be betting Newcastle plus 138 in the money line.
Foxy, I think that's probably why both teams score yes and over 2.5 is plus money, because Newcastle sometimes, Eddie Howe, more better way of saying it, sometimes tightens up. Jazzo's right. Marseille can be a trappy team. I think Greenwood's the player to look at for the props for this game. If they're going to have a good night, he has a good night, in my personal opinion. Michael St. John, thanks for your comments on Twitter recently, Michael. Possible double chance on Marseille. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're liking that, then absolutely pull the trigger. That's the problem, Tristan. That match against Atalanta was disappointing for Marseille, but they often let you down when everyone.
They battered them, though, didn't they? If you look at the stats, they battered them. It was just a very bad day. If that match was played again, they'd win that match. I mean, it was they had much the better of it, and they should have got something from the match. But it was a heartbreaking one. But how they lost that match is insane. But if it was played 10 times again, they'd win it 7 times. So I'm not so sure. I think De Zerbi will like to match himself up with the Premier League as well and have a go. And I think it'll be like a proper Premier League style match this one.
Right, let's move to the Arctic Circle. Bodo Glimt against Juventus. 8 p.m., 9 p.m. local time kickoff here. This is ridiculous, actually, so late in the year. It's going to be very, very cold up there. The weather forecast is for snow showers below freezing in terms of Celsius. This is going to hit Juventus players hard, in my opinion. Bodo Glimt are back as a dog at home. They were favourites against Monaco and lost. Now they're a clear dog at home, plus 215. Probably just how they like it, actually. Juventus plus 117, who've been pretty unconvincing, really, this season. I think they're going to struggle here. Bodo Glimt are looking set not to win their domestic league, Nigel. Incredibly, there's one match left, and a team from Stavanger, Viking, are 1-4 favourites to win the league this weekend. So Glimt might be usurped into second place. So I think this match means more to them in the final round of the season, where it's unlikely they'll win the league. Now, I think it's time to get back on Bodo Glimt, Nigel. I think draw no bet here, plus 125. I like them to win the most corners as well. I just think this reminds me of the sort of fixture where the away side's going to come here and struggle. What do you think?
Well, I don't think you should be really too worried about the weather conditions. I mean, it's only 0 degrees. It's not like it's -7 or -8. And you've got to remember, Juventus is in Turin, and Turin is very, very cold. You know, it's snow. It's a skiing part of Italy, so it's not like they're coming from South America. You know? I wouldn't worry too much about the weather there. If you are going to take Bodo Glimt, they're drifting like a barge. They're getting bigger and bigger every time I look at the BetRivers website. They've gone out from plus 195 to 215. I think this is a typical sort of last minute kind of people putting things in to try to boost up with fashionable teams. And Juventus obviously are a fashionable team. When we did the preview of this show, we did the Champions League preview, which was way back in August. We all spoke about Juventus possibly being a dark horse to win this tournament, you know, out the sides. But they've had a terrible, terrible season. And on our betting weekly ratings on the Insider magazine, I think they're now the 4th rated team in Italy. And, you know, that's how far they've dropped. Not convincing. They've become the draw specialists in world football as well. Since that show was aired, which was the 13th of September, in all competitions, Juventus have only won 2 matches, which is staggering when you think about it. But they have drawn 8 of 13 matches since then. And that is where they seem to be doing. They seem to be drawing 4 games in the Champions League, 3 of them draws. I think they all know this is a tricky place to go, coining one of your phrases, Steve. And I think this looks like a potential tough night for Juventus. I think the only reason they're at plus 115 or whatever it is now moving is because of name and reputation. I wouldn't be betting them at plus 115. I can see this being a draw. I think the draw plus 255. And the one thing I do like in this match, again, I won't be playing it because I'm just having a concentration on a few matches tonight. But I do think if you were looking for an angle here, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to the pitch, the surroundings over in Glimt for Bodo Glimt. And I think Juventus could be very cagey at the beginning. And I like the draw at half time. Now that is plus 148. I think this is going to be a cagey opening. I don't buy into the goals format theory of what Glimt have done, Bodo Glimt have done so far in this competitions. The goals have dried up in recent weeks in matches you would expect to go overs. So, but I do think this could be quite tight. Another draw could be on the cards. If you want to be brave and take the 255 on the money line, take that. But I think the first half could be very, very cagey in very, very cold conditions. Plus 148 would be the way I'll go for a draw at halftime.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by the goals either. Not this time of year up north. The plastic pitch is a big advantage for Bodo Glimt. It's the end of their domestic season as well. I've noticed they've been a little bit tired of late. But I do like that Tino bet on them at plus 125. I like the most corners as well, minus 107. Juventus have lost the corner battle in 5 out of 7 of their recent games. And I think they'll be on the back foot here. I think territorially, Glimt will dominate. I do believe. I can't get that match last season out of my head when they completely murdered Lazio. I don't think there's a lot between Juventus and Lazio at this point in time. So Juventus, I think, will come good this season, by the way, at some point. I just think they need to find the right side, the best combinations, maybe have a better January transfer window. The money for the game is on Juventus, though, 89% of it on the Juventus. I don't know why that is.
Name. It's what it is. I mean, English teams are always bet. Name sides are always bet. Bodo, Glimt for Juventus, the mighty Juventus, defensively strong. But anybody who's watched Juventus this season, they are way off it.
Only 60% of the tickets on the over in the over-under market. Okay, let's move to Napoli Qarabag. Quick thoughts on this one, Nigel. Qarabag, a big dog as per normal. They've given it a good go in the Champions League this season. They normally score. Both teams to score, yes, did tempt me here.
Definitely on the same page.
It's
I do. I mean, they've scored in every single Champions League game this way. They've played in 10 Champions League games this season. Qarabag have scored in every single one, including at Chelsea, Atletico Bilbao. Good sides. They've scored goals. And obviously Napoli conceded 6 against PSV. So obviously, and also Napoli have a big match. Talk about match of the weekend. Napoli have a massive match of the weekend away at Roma, the first v third in Serie A. Napoli players, McTominay's had a big week, massive week for his country. Then in the week and again, and fatigue might feature here. I think Qarabag, the way they play and the way they have no fear, I think they're good for a goal. I was very surprised to see both teams scored yes as -110. Sometimes when you look at these matches, and it's on the money line that one team is -$4 and one team is 10, but Qarabag have got goal threats. And they don't mind taking the pot. They have a shot. They like having a shot, as we saw in that game against Chelsea. So I think they can cause problems for Napoli. I think Napoli will win it. I expect Napoli to win something like 3-1, something like that. But I do think both teams to score yes at -110 is a decent way of approaching this match.
You might have sold that to me, to be honest. I think that's got to be a bet, actually, the more I think about it. I mean, one of the rules I have is the manager here in the Champions League is usually not someone that's reliable enough. I mean, I still can't get that 6-2 defeat out of my head when they went to PSV Eindhoven. They'll beat Napoli, should win the game, but Qarabag will give it a good go. The handicap here on Napoli is quite high, actually. It's like -2, -1.7, -1.75 on Napoli. I wouldn't be that interested there. If they won by 2-1, it wouldn't be a shock to me. There is rain forecast.
They've covered this. Qarabag have covered the spread in all 5 of their 4 matches. There's only one team that's beaten. Bilbao beat them 3-1. Bilbao did beat them 3-1. That was the only one that they didn't cover the spread on. So they're a side that they fancy themselves, and that they've got goals. And once you've got goals, you're always going to be a threat. When you're betting teams on big handicaps, you want to bet teams that haven't got goals in them. But this side have definitely got a goal threat, and this is not going to be. This is not going to be very easy. 2 goals is a lot. There's a lot for Napoli to come, especially again with Roma at the weekend. I do think that's a huge match in Italy.
Yeah, so both teams score yes. That is the direction we're heading for this game. -110. 95% of the money is on Napoli. 82% of the money on the over. I'm just going to switch the schedule up slightly here, Nigel, because I want people to be able to get on this daily double ASAP. So we're going to switch to Slavia Prague against Athletic Club Bilbao. This is another 3 p.m. Eastern time kickoff, and we've got you just mentioned Athletic Bilbao there. They're an away favourite, +133. Slavia Prague at +210, and the tie is at +230. The first half of the daily double is from me. It's Benfica, tie no bet. The second half of the daily double comes in this game, which might surprise quite a few people. This is the one you're targeting, Nigel. Slavia Prague versus Athletic Bilbao. Which direction, which market are you going in?
I'm going with the home team. Not on the money line at +210, although I will be betting them on the money line at +210. Obviously, we're looking at the Liga here against the Czech League, and the Liga is obviously a lot stronger than the Czech League, but Bilbao are simply awful, and they're in a real rut at the moment in time. Their form is terrible. 4-0 loss at the weekend against Barcelona, which is on the back of 4 losses in their last 5 matches. They got beat by Newcastle 2-0. Which was a poor result. Their only win was at home to Real Oviedo. Their away form is really, really bad. I mean, if you look at their away form, they haven't won since August, and they've only scored 1 goal in their, 3 goals in their last 7 matches, but they've had a blank in 5 of them. So Bilbao, to me, are a side who know they probably can't. It's a big match, but I think both the sides know they probably can't qualify. And I think Prague here will give it a right go. And I think that if you look at their record in the Champions League, I know it's not particularly great, but they've put up a decent approach. I mean, the matches they've lost are against Arsenal and Inter Milan. I mean, that's not bad. They drew with Bodo. They drew with another side prior to that. I can't remember the other team they drew with. Atalanta. They went to Atalanta. So they've played 4, draw 2, and lost 2. So the 2 they've lost to, Inter Milan and Arsenal. It's not, they're not getting beat by. And Bilbao at this moment in time are a bad side. The other thing I think is very, very important is the weather. And we talked about the weather in the Bodo match. This match here, the temperature here is actually colder. It's colder here in Prague than it is in that one. So we're looking at -2. And obviously later in the week, it gets down to -7 in Prague. And Bilbao, obviously in Spain, where temperatures are around about 15, 16 degrees, this is a bigger culture shock than Juventus going there. I think Slavia Prague here will get something from this match. I like them on the money line. I think they're in good form. Their home form this season has been absolutely exceptional. Like I say, the only team that's beaten them at home in all competitions has been Arsenal. No one else has beaten them at home in all competitions. They've won every single match they have domestically. They've run away with the domestic division. So they're in good form. They haven't lost domestically all season in 16 matches. Great at home. Freezing cold temperatures. Spanish side going there in Bilbao. The Barca players will not want to fancy this in -2 degrees. And I think the home side have got a great chance. I think +210 is a big price. I'm going to bet them on the money line, but for the purposes of my daily double, I'm putting Prague in +0.25 goal. Now, if you're new to the channel and you want to know what that means, Asian handicap, half of it will be on the draw no bet. So if it's a draw, we get a push on the half, and the other half will be on half a goal start. So if it's a draw or Prague win, we cash. So as long as Prague don't get beat, we're going to show a little bit of profit on this match. And I think that Bilbao were fading. So I'm going straight in on my daily double with Prague +0.25 goal, -122.
That's the daily double on screen. Slavia Prague +0.25 Asian handicap and Benfica tie no bet. That comes in at +171. I was maybe a little bit conservative with the Benfica angle, but I'd rather get that tie onside. The tie's onside for both games, really, there. So that is the official daily double kickoff in that Benfica game. Remember, it's early. That is in about an hour and 10 minutes time. So hopefully we can cash with that. I like the under here in Nigel, actually.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Really do like the under. It's just, I mean, the weather I think is a big factor here. Like you said, this is about 35 in Fahrenheit, even lower, actually. It's going to be cold.
It's about 32, isn't it? It's
32, actually, yeah, even lower.
-1, -2 come kickoff time, I think.
Yeah, it's a cold. It's one of those places, Prague, isn't it? Mega hot in the summer, really cold in the winter. And you're actually going back to Turin. Of course, it's hosting the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, I was thinking they're not going to worry about the snow. I've been to, it's the end of tour tennis championships out there every year, and I've been there for 2 of the last 3 years. It was bloody freezing. I think it'd be warmer. I think it'd be warmer in Turin than it will be in Bodo Glimt.
The Winter Olympics start on February the 10th in 2026. Are we covering that on Betting Weekly Live? I don't know. Ready for the
Rory Girardi will be doing stuff on our Instagram account. I'm sure he's our man for that.
I want to remind people about the Betting Weekly newsletter. 2 newsletters a week come out. Last week, we hit a clean sweep on the Monday newsletter, and the Insider, of course, over the weekend has had some good success. Shout out to Hitman Paul Hughes, actually, of late, who's been nailing those UFC selections on that. Here is a link for anyone new who has not subscribed. Totally free. You can get these 2 newsletters a week. I've got a pick on the Champions League tomorrow on that one. James Easton's got one. And Jack Wright, I think, had a pick on the Monday newsletter this week as well, Nigel. So please do sign up for free if you've not already. Several more matches to discuss. This is where I hand it over to you. Borussia Dortmund are involved. Borussia Dortmund against Villarreal. -125 favourites here. Dortmund, I can never, ever get them right, can I? Villarreal are the dog. Over 2.5 goals is -162. I'll put it out there for anyone who wants to fade me. I do think Dortmund win. If I was to have a bet on the game, it would be Dortmund money line. But I'm not touching it. I never get them right. I don't think it's a great price anyway, to be honest. But I do think they'll have enough for the La Liga opponents. What say
Well,
you?
I think this is two sides that have got contrasting form domestically and in Champions League. I mean, Dortmund are a different beast when they play in the Champions League. You know, historically over the years, you know, they've got such a good record. Final a couple of years ago against Real Madrid, and they do well in this competition. Domestically, they're not doing so great as you would expect them to do. And Villarreal in the Champions League, you're having a bit of a nightmare at the moment. Haven't won a match in the Champions League and languished in 32nd place in the 36th table. But domestically, are absolutely on fire. They won 5 of their last 5. So people might look at this and think plus 275, plus 310 for Villarreal is a big price. What we've seen, but Euro nights are what Dortmund Football Club is all about. You know, the yellow wall there. We'll fit in with the yellow wall with what we're wearing today. I'm sure of that. I know you're not really a Dortmund fan, but I'll tell you who has been a fan of Dortmund throughout this campaign is anyone who likes overs. I mean, their matches have been absolutely wild. The 4 matches in the Champions League so far, 24 goals have featured in the 4 matches, so averaging 6 goals per game. They also drew 3-3 at the weekend in Stuttgart. Every time Dortmund take to the pitch, you've got to look for goals. Villarreal, not so many goal happy in their matches, a lot of unders. 3 of the 4 have gone unders, but I think that Dortmund, with that crowd, just play in front of it and go right at it from the opening whistle, which means the goals are going to be on the menu. Over 2.5 is minus 175. It is a little bit low, but I'd probably be tempted to go over it on the Asian handicap and move that up to 3 on the Asian with a push if it was 3 goals. And for that, you can get minus 105. So I fancy goals. You've got to go for the main man as well for Dortmund, the striker. Well, how do you pronounce that? I never pronounce that. Gushrai, isn't it?
Steru Gerase.
Gerase. I never pronounce that right. Gerase. I mean, he's prolific whenever they score at home. His record is absolutely unbelievable. He's around about minus 120. I think he's probably one of the best anytime goal scorer bets tonight. A player with something to prove. Everyone's talking about other leading goal scorers around Europe, but this guy is phenomenal whenever he puts on when he plays for Dortmund, in particular at home, in particular in this competition. So I do think there's goals in this match, and Galatasaray could be the man to get it. Minus 120, or maybe even go 2 or more, because their games this season, Dortmund are averaging 6 a game in the Champions League.
Yeah, you'd be foolish to be looking at the undermarket in Dortmund game, wouldn't you? Like I did a few weeks ago. But that's why 88% of the money's on the over in this game. 91% of the tickets are on Dortmund on the money line here. 91% of the money. I expect they'll have too much, but Villarreal actually are in 3rd place in La Liga, which surprised me. They're decent. I don't think they're that good, personally.
It's the battle of the yellows, isn't it? We're yellows, the yellow submarine against the yellow wall, and we're in yellow, and we're not having a bet on it. We should pass. It should be one of the bets we have, the yellow ones. But yeah, interesting match. But I think the goal angle is definitely the way to go.
I think it's quite.
Just talking about other fixtures as well. If you want to talk about fixtures, I mean, Dortmund have a big game at the weekend. I think they play Leverkusen. It's the 3rd and 4th 2 teams in Bundesliga in Champions League action play at the weekend as well. So that again is a big match for Champions League qualification in their domestic league as well.
Thanks for all your comments in chat. I've not been able to go through that many on the screen and stuff and mention them, but one did catch my eye here. Regina Codes. He's going for a massive dog parlay here. Slavia, Prague, Bodo, and Qarabag all to win. And I've worked this out on the Bet River site. This is 104 to 1.
I thought we'd be big. I thought we'd be bigger than that.
Yeah, 104 to 1 in that. Well, plus 104.71. That is 104 to 1, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. So good luck with that one. If that cashes, that's a huge one. Dave Clark says Icardi probably next one today. He'll be on penalties as well. I think that's a good shout in the early game, actually. Galatasaray.
Will he be on penalty? Wouldn't Gundogan be on penalties?
I don't know, actually, the hierarchy for Galatasaray. The only time I've ever seen him given a penalty this season was when Osimhen's been on the field.
Yeah, but I would. That's why I bet Gundogan to score any time. So I thought he'd be on penalties.
That's a good point. They'll all be.
If anyone knows, is anyone from Galatasaray or anybody from Turkey who knows that? But I that's the reason I bet Gundogan to score any time, because I thought it'd be on PKs.
Well, he's playing A mid as well, Gundogan, so he's going to get some opportunities, even if he's not on the penalties. But anyway,
I want him to be. I want him to be.
They're going to get a penalty now, aren't they? We've got 2 massive matches to finish with. Chelsea against Barcelona. What's the headline game of the evening, Nigel? Huge interest here. Chelsea have been well backed in this game. They're plus 120 now, actually, with Bet Rivers on the money line. Remember, Newcastle kicked off about plus 140 against Barcelona. Barca plus 205. Is this a case again of the Premier League just having a lot of strength and respect in the betting market? Chelsea are the world champions, of course, as well. Are you having this plus 120 favourites at home to Barcelona?
Well, I mean, the market move, it is definitely to do with the fact that people think the Premier League is a lot stronger than the La Liga, and that's definitely it. But Chelsea are probably the fourth best team in the Premier League on the ratings. Obviously, Liverpool are going through a slump at the moment, but Chelsea are probably the fourth best team in the Premier League. I think that plus 114 is a little bit short. The gamble on Newcastle was terrible. You know, it was ridiculous the price they went off there at the start of the season. But this move on Chelsea does look a little bit too short, because I think they lack. You look at that goal scorer. Look at their main goal scorers: João Pedro, Liam Delap. Good players, but really world-class players. Look at the three there for Barcelona: Lewandowski, Torres, Yamal. I mean, that's where Barcelona, I feel, are so much stronger than Chelsea. I think there's a question mark about the Chelsea goalkeeper. I still don't think he's an absolute world-class goalkeeper. I worry about them from an attacking point of view in terms of high level. If they had an out-and-out beast of a striker, they're still without their best player, Cole Palmer. And I think, in matches like this, you need your best player. And at plus 114 or plus 120, I think this is very, very short. The one thing I do think I think there's goals galore in this match. I think this is going to be a very, very entertaining match. I have been really impressed with Chelsea in the last couple of weeks, but they haven't played anyone. They did a very professional job against Burnley at the weekend. Really impressed with Enzo Fernandez. I thought that him and Neto were exceptional. I think if you're looking at goals, Enzo would be the area I'd go for. He would be the one for me rather than Delap or Pedro, who I'm not quite sure about. But Barcelona are going to come here and they're going to have a go. It's the only way they know how to play. Rashford, I like Rashford here when he comes here. He scored against Newcastle, then he had a mission against the Premier League sides. Rashford to have a couple of shots. If you're looking at shots on target, Rashford will be my man. He's been taking a lot of free kicks for them as well, for Barcelona here. But goals is where I've got to go. Chelsea have scored in 17 of their 18 matches this season, scored a goal. The only time they haven't scored in any match this season was on the first day of the season against Crystal Palace. Barcelona have scored in all of their 17 matches this season. So in 35 matches, both of these sides have scored in all barring one match. So there is goals in this match. The line is 3.5. Both teams to score is extremely low. It's like minus one, I think it's minus $2. The last 14 Barcelona matches, over 2.5 goals has cashed in every single one. This is a 3.5 goal game, but I've got a feeling this is going to be a high scoring match. I think goals, I'm loath to bet 3.5, but I do think this here could be 3.5, and I might even ladder it up, go up to 4.5. I just think that the way this is, and the way these two sides are, they know that it's not going to be a cagey affair, because they know that there should be enough to get into. Well, they're going to be in the top 24. It's whether they get into the top 8. They're currently 12th and 11th. But I do think there's goals in this match. Yamal is a big factor if he starts. Maybe that line may not. Maybe some team news coming out of Barcelona that we are not aware of. But I think goals. So over 3.5. I'll be definitely playing. Both teams to score, yes. Partly up to 3.5. Might even go 4.5. I look at Enzo to score at any time. I look at Rashford's shots. But I do think Chelsea are a little bit too short. And just one other thing again for Chelsea bettors. I mean, I'm going out to watch this game with a couple of my friends who are Chelsea fans. They're looking forward to this game. Trust me, they want to beat Barcelona. But let me tell you one thing. The only thing they're talking about is beating Arsenal at the weekend. They got Arsenal at the weekend. They would lose this match and beat Arsenal. And that is a huge, huge game. London derby, Chelsea moving up, and a big, big statement win against Arsenal. So that is going to be also on their minds as well. And the match against Arsenal may not be. So I would not be betting Chelsea at plus 120, but I would be betting goals.
A makes a good point. Maresca does well in big matches. He's going to be looking at player props. He does have a history. People remember the World Club Cup final, of course. But it seems the general vibe amongst the chat here, Nigel, is a lot of people are tempted with Barcelona on the money line here, plus 205.
Well, it's exactly the same scenario as when Newcastle, but I mean, the Newcastle price and the Chelsea price isn't that far off. And I would argue that Chelsea are a much better side. On our ratings, we got Chelsea a lot higher. I mean, if you look, I think I moved Chelsea up quite a lot this midweek on the back of their performances. But I do think off the ratings, plus 120, plus 130 is about the right price. But I worry about the flair players. When you got a big match like this, you need to have superstars, and the superstars I feel are on the Barcelona side. From Chelsea, I think there's players. If Cole Palmer was in there, it would be very, very different to me. But I think in big games like that, you need your superstars, and I think that'll be a big miss tonight. You're not going to miss him against Burnley, but you're definitely going to miss him at home against Barcelona.
This is an interesting split. 74% of the money is on Barcelona on the money line, but 56% of the tickets are on Chelsea. And there's an interesting comment here from Mindy Priorhart. Why do Barcelona always drift on Champions League nights? Feels like this will be one Will White will bet late. What does that betting split tell us, Nigel? Is it a simple case of public money is on Chelsea and professional money is more on Barcelona at this stage?
Sorry, what's that, mate? What's
the split? 56% of the tickets on Chelsea, but 74% of the money on Barcelona.
I don't know. I think that the general public, and I think that in America, after especially that Chelsea have won the Club World Cup in America, they've got a very public side. People bet Chelsea. When I was in New York for the tennis, I went to watch a Chelsea game. It was like being in Kensington. There's a huge amount of Chelsea fans in there, and obviously after winning the World Club Championships, there American supporters have grown. I think Barcelona is obviously probably more of the professional and the bigger money would probably be on Barcelona on the price rather than the public money on Chelsea.
Pro Soccer Bets Club said, I worked for Star Ledger for 5 years. We were often against the public as that became the value identified by the model. Barcelona is a bet. There you have it from Pro Soccer Bets Club. The smart money is on Barca, he says. One more match to discuss on the card. It is from Manchester, Man City against Leverkusen. Big favourite here, Man City, -2 on the Asian handicap, -420 on the money line, and Leverkusen are nearly a 10-1 shot. Man City had far too much for Dortmund recently in the Champions League at home. I'm expecting something quite similar, if I'm being honest, Nigel. Here, a huge goal line is at 3.75, and Haaland's going to be a popular bet, of course, as ever. I don't see any trouble for City here, do you?
No, I don't. I think City will win this and win this fairly comfortably. I think, whenever we talk about Manchester City in these matches like this, we try to look for value. They're -420. You look for the handicap. The goals are 3.5. You can't really find much money. And then you always turn your attention to the goal scorer market, and you always look at that man Haaland. That's what you do now in Man City matches. You just look at what price is Haaland to score, what price is Haaland to score a hat trick, what price is to score 2 or more. That's what you do in Man City matches now, because it's a way to cash. He's played 4 times previously against Bayer Leverkusen, and he scored 4 goals. Not 4 in every single match. He's had 2 games where he hasn't had a goal, and 2 games where he scored 2 or more. And obviously Haaland going for the golden boot here, top goal scorer. He's the top goal scorer in the UK, in England. He's the favourite to be the player of the year. And I think you just got to go big on Haaland. I mean, he's 2-1 to score the first goal, -250 to score anytime. So you've got to bet him at 2-1 to score the first goal rather than -250 to score anytime. And if he scores the first goal, the chances are he goes on and scores another couple. So we know the statistics on Haaland this season. We know how good he is. But when you look at the 2 or more percentage, or the hat trick percentage, that's where the edge is. The edge isn't on the goal scorer market. He actually is. He works out about a -150 chance to score anytime he takes to the pitch on a match. But to score 2 or more, it's a lot shorter than 2-1. And that's what you're getting here. 2-1 to score 2 or more, 2-1 to score the first, and even a hat-trick. I mean, Bet Rivers have actually sort of got him to score a hat-trick at +575. I can't remember a team for ages where someone's been 5-7. Ronaldo and Messi, I suppose, were +575 against some really bad Spanish sides. But they've even now got him to score at least 4 and to score at least 5. He's 66-1 to score at least 5. I wouldn't go that far, but I would just look to him to score the first goal at 2-1 and to score 2 or more at 2-1, because they're in for 4 goals. They're in for 4 goals. Haaland's in for 2 of them. And, I think he scores again. Good record against this team. And obviously he can have a go at them, because City they've got an easy match of the weekend, haven't they, City? I think they've got West.
They've got Leeds.
Yeah,
that's the best bet of the weekend. Man City handicap, I tell you now.
Like I say.
Right in there, straight away. -1.75 against Leeds. It's one of those where I think Haaland is, some people are commenting now, the anytime score odds are on the lines of what Messi was, what Kane is now, but he deserves it fully with the way it's gone about. I did have a lean on this game. It's actually over 9.5 corners, minus 132. I just think City dominate territorially a lot here, and Leverkusen have been conceding a lot of corners when they've been an underdog this season. All the money is on Manchester City, as you might expect. 93% of the money on them and 91% of the money on the over as well. RHM, interested to hear everyone's thoughts. I like that sort of parlay you've got going there. The only one I'd be a bit cautious about is over 1.5 goals in Marseille against Newcastle. I do quite like the other ones there. On that one, the daily double, we're going to remind people now. I'll put it on screen. That is the daily double. Slavia Prague versus Athletic Bilbao. Slavia Prague plus 1/4 of a goal. And Benfica tie note bet. That's the early kickoff. That is getting underway in 50 minutes time. So aside from that daily double, Nigel, just remind us of your best plays of the day.
Okay, well, I do think Benfica beat Ajax, but I'm hoping for a little bit bigger price. So I'm going to play that in play if it hits about plus 125. So 0-0 after 10 minutes, hit plus 125. I'll probably bet that. I like over 3.5 goals in the Chelsea-Barcelona game. I think that Chelsea, that's goals. Haaland to score the first and to score 2 or more, both around about 2-1. Slavia Prague in the daily double plus 1/4. And the Napoli Qarabag game, both teams to score yes at minus 110. There's some strong other leans as well, but I would say that they were my best plays on the of the night, really.
I do like under 2.5 goals in that Slavia Prague game at minus 121. Bodo Glimt draw no bet plus 125, and Benfica minus 1/4 of a goal at minus 130. A couple of house specials before I finish. Erling Haaland to score in the first half has been boosted to plus 130 by Bet Rivers. They do like to dangle that carrot. And then in the Barcelona game, Robert Lewandowski to score a goal and Barcelona to score more than 1 goal is at plus 225. That's sometimes quite a good way to actually get with a goal scorer. Bet on someone to score and there to be over 1.5 goals in the game. There's not that many 1-0s around, really. But anyway, that will do for this show, Nigel. Thanks very much, as always. Really appreciate your time and best of luck for everyone. Thanks, everyone who joined live or on demand. The Betting Weekly Live US show, that's at 4 p.m. Eastern time right now, Nigel.
Yep, 4 p.m. An hour forward. So, 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Do join Doug Kazarian and Mike Carver at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And best of luck whatever you are taking today in the Champions League. Remember to gamble responsibly. And I'll be back tomorrow with Will White for more Champions League action. Cheers, Nigel. Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Take care. See you next time. Goodbye.